Good afternoon. Paul Wiedefeld, the General Manager of Metro. Here today, as you all know, we had an incident yesterday morning at McPherson Square, a fire in the tunnel. So I received a detailed briefing last night and report last night and further this morning and into this afternoon on the investigation into yesterday's cable fire that shut down service on the orange, blue, and silver lines in the core. While the investigation is ongoing, the preliminary findings show commonalities with the cable fire at LaFont Plaza a year ago. While the risk to the public is very low, I cannot rule out a potential life safety issue here, and this is why we must take this action immediately. When I say safety is our highest priority, I mean it. That sometimes means making tough, unpopular decisions, and this is one of those, for sure. I fully recognize the hardship this causes to the region and to the community. In fact, I'm announcing that we will suspend rail service for 24 hours to inspect 600 underground, what we call jumper cables. That means the entire rail system will be closed until 5 a.m. Thursday. If we find any additional cables that require replacement, we will announce those to the public as soon as possible. What additional track outages will be needed and any impacts to our service to our customers beyond the next 24 hours. With that, I'd be glad to take any questions.
When does the shutdown begin?
At midnight tonight.
How will this affect federal workers trying to get to work? Will we expect a shutdown?
We're working with the federal government, and they'll make their decisions.
Is it going to provide some other kind of transportation? Like
We will provide our bus system as normal. We will also increase our buses for the school system in the district.
So there's a possibility that some stations could be shut down longer than 24 hours?
What we intend to find out is where we have potentially any issues. We will treat them just like we did with the McPherson Square situation, which is if we have a situation where it can be located locally, we will single track around it. And in that evening, we will shut down at 9 p.m. because we need to shut down power on both rails to deal with this issue. And we will basically replace the cabling and reopen in that morning, just like we did yesterday.
I understand
This morning.
you're going to be speaking to OPM to determine what to do.
We've been reaching out to them, so they're already working on that issue.
There's absolutely no way that this can be held off till the weekend. This has to happen tonight.
From where I sit, the safety of the public and my employees is paramount. So to risk that, I just cannot do that.
So if it's so paramount to safety, why are you waiting until midnight? Why not shut the system down?
Because we brought people in. We want to give them the choice of what they want to do. We provide the service till midnight. We literally have to get the trains back in and all that. I mean, there's issues that we have to deal with. But I think it's the most rational way I can do it with the hundreds of thousands of people that came in on the system today. Again, it's very, very low, but until I know that we've got these 600 inspected and I'm comfortable with them, I want to make sure I do that as soon as I can, and that starts tonight at midnight.
Can you point to the authority, the compact, the regional compact, that gives you the authority to shut down the system in this manner?
I personally cannot, but as the person responsible for the life safety and the safety of this operation, it is something that I've chosen to do.
So do you believe you have the authority?
I do believe I have the authority.
Mr. Reed, can you give us any more details as to exactly as to the fire that happened yesterday that prompted the safety measure today?
Yeah, we basically have what's called jumper cables. We have third rail, and it comes, and there's a gap in between it occasionally, 600 times underground, for instance, and it's for operational needs that you have that. So there's 4 large cables that basically connect the power from one end to the other. And in this case, there was potential metal on metal, which is very similar to what we had the LaFont Plaza situation, where you had a metal ribbed tunnel, and there was issues there. So the similarities there are concerning to me. Potentially, there are other issues with the cable. If there's any friction on the cable that could cause it to deteriorate, moisture gets in there, and then you have this situation that we had.
Is that a deterioration of the insulation? What's making it bad as well?
It's the deterioration of the metal could be the issue. Again, that's why we're looking at what happened.
Insulation that covers the metal?
Yes. No, there's insulation that's covering the cable. So if that touches metal and rubs, it can get open. Then you have the direct connection.
Mr. Reed,
During the 24 hours stand down
I don't have all the numbers directly, but basically we reached out to other properties, the consulting community, and our own resources to do this.
Mr. Wiedefeld, the insulation on these cables that keeps water contact out was underway last year when your former top engineer, Rob Troop, was here. That was as a result of La Plaza. How is this different? What issues are you looking at, and will you have to replace cables that have already had work done on them from the previous initiative?
That's why we're doing the assessment of all 600, because I want to make sure I know what I've got with all 600 of them. This was inspected last year, as you just mentioned, and basically it was found to be okay. So we had a situation there, so I got to find out what's driving that situation, but I do know some of the similarities.
So these 600 plus cables that are going to be looked at, that project to fix the insulation was completed, and now you're going to go back and look at them again?
No, if you recall, on the NTSB recommendations, we had to replace all of what we call the sleeves, the boots, and we're about 50% there. That was a program that we laid out. So, I mean, there's, some of these things we've committed to do. But this is a situation, if it happened once, you could say, okay, what happened, right? But it's happened twice in a year. So I can't wait for the third time.
Hoops where the jumper cable attached to the program on the side of the gap, are hoops used in those connections?
Yes.
Yes. So, the boots at the gap at the jumper cable we caught on yesterday, with the sleeves from those boots, was that problem rectified with those boots?
Paul, I'm looking into all that. Again, this is an active investigation. It's been about 30 hours. That's taking its own course. Right now, I'm not trying to, there's people trying to solve that. I'm just trying to deal with what I know and what I fear.
Let me ask it another way. When you look at the damage from the fire yesterday, did the fire seem to involve the boots? I know it involved the jumper cable.
It's cable and boots
So is this
were
a
impacted.
potentially different issue than what caused you said about 50% of them have been replaced?
Right.
Potentially different issue that's causing fires
Um,
than water infiltration?
Martin, I'm not sure right now. Again, that's a separate investigation. But with that uncertainty, that's why I'm doing the inspection.
Who is actually doing the inspections, and are they the same people who did the inspections on these cables before?
It's a different. It's some of the same could be, yes, but we have outside help, consultant-wise, and also other properties
So
helping
the
us.
consultants will be on the tracks?
Excuse me?
Will the consultants be on the tracks?
Yes.
Is there any federal government involvement in this, since FTA is managing your safety?
Yeah, I've spoken to Secretary Fox. NTSB has been out already, and FTA has been out already. So yes, we're coordinating with them as well.
Jack, can you talk about the city and whether this impacts schools, city government, federal government? You guys talk to the various employers in the region about what they're going to do tomorrow with no transit?
Yes, certainly. Jack Evans, I'm the chairman of the Board of Metro. And yes, it will impact the entire metropolitan region. There's no doubt about it. Without Metro, it's going to have a lot of congestion. It's going to be very difficult. We recognize that for people to get into work, for school children to get to school, for everyone who relies on Metro. But safety is paramount, and we need to get to the bottom of this. We did have a conference call at 2 o'clock with Paul and a number of board members, discussed this thoroughly, and we support the general manager's decision to close this down for 24 hours and see what we're dealing with.
The question is, though, did you talk to personnel management defense? Did you talk to people about the schools? And were city and federal agencies brought in, or just coming as news to them right now?
I spoke with the mayor right after our 2 o'clock conference call, so probably around 2:30, 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock it was. So I've informed the mayor, and I know, Paul, you've reached out to a number, he can speak for himself, who he's reached out to, but yes, we've reached out to everyone we can.
Mr. Evans, can you, sorry, I want to.
Yeah, doing it for schools tomorrow. I mean, what's going to happen in schools?
Well, again, that's not my decision, it's a decision of the mayor and the chancellor, so I don't know what they're going to do.
Mr. Evans, since you've become council member, since you've become chairman of the board, I know you've talked a lot about, Mr. Wiedefeld, you can address this as well, making sure this is a safe system. When, I know you said risk is low here, but this brings back memories of La Plaza. It's a similar situation. It seems like there is an accident waiting to happen in the tunnels. Do you agree with that?
Yes, and that's why we are making the decision we made. Again, when Paul, myself, and the board members were talking about this at 2 o'clock, the information we had is we have 600 of these. They were inspected about a year ago, so we do not know the condition they're in. We may find that 1 or 2 of them are bad. We may find that 50 of them are bad. But we, in good conscience, and as the administrators of the system, cannot send trains out in this system into these tunnels knowing full well that something can go wrong. So we could inform the public, which we're doing today, but we believe the most prudent thing is to close down the system, find out what we're dealing with, and fix it. And that safety is paramount. The lives of people who ride this system are paramount. And I am not, nor is Paul, nor are my board members willing to take a chance.
Is this unprecedented? I mean, honestly, the metro was shut down for weather during the blizzard. As far as maintenance, system-wide shut down.
I asked that same question. My understanding is, other than weather conditions, where we have closed down Metro before, this is the first time it's been closed down for non-weather conditions. Paul?
To make sure we're clear on this, these jumper cables were inspected after the NTSB warned about them last year, correct?
Yes, sir.
And so, if they've been inspected, then they were presumably found to be satisfactory, what are you going to look at this?
Again, this is one that was inspected. I have some concerns with what came from that inspection, based on some of the things I've seen with this particular location.
1 or 2 more?
Is there paperwork connected to these inspections?
It's in this case, there's potential metal, so I want to know why that would have been, that would have passed inspection at that time.
The initial inspections dealing with water infiltration, weren't they, or the entire jumper cable apparatus?
Right.
It was a water infiltration with the initial round.
That's my understanding.
Okay, so we're talking now about more issues than potential water infiltration.
Yeah. Again, we're looking at the cables for any potential for basically a deterioration of the casing of the cable and/or boots. So that's what I'm going to do.
But I want to make sure I understand. What you're saying is that these were inspected and they were passed, and then yesterday you have this. Now you want to know why they were passed, right? I mean,
That's exactly right. I want to see all 600 of them looked at.
so we shouldn't be confident in these previous inspections.
I don't know. All I know is I want to see the 600. I can only see what's in front of me, which is I have this in front of me, and I got to do something about it.
Can you say the first time they were inspected, how many of them were replaced or found deficient?
I believe 125
And then how often are they now?
annually.
Annually, okay.
And for people with passes, with weekly, monthly passes, is any consideration been given to compensation for them as of yet?
Yes, but I haven't made a decision on that yet.
So that 125 that were found deficient on the first go-round, and all of those been replaced and repaired, is your understanding?
Yes.
Sir, if you say you shut down at midnight tonight,
Yes, sir.
how soon after that do the inspections begin? And is there any possibility that the shutdown might not last as long as you anticipate? You said, are you confident that they could get the shutdown at midnight time? Could they finish it early?
Let us see what we got. But the plan is basically we feel we can get through. The reason to shut it down is basically literally you have people crawling around third rail. That's what you're doing. So we got to get as many people out there. So if we do a piecemeal, guess what? This is going to take weeks. So we got to get out there, get people, saturate the entire system at these 600 locations, physically do the inspection. So that is what it takes. So we feel we can do it in that time period.
I have to check out, you guys talk to the Office of Personnel Management?
We have.
I have not.
What do they say?
I don't have the latest report on that. I'm sorry. I don't have the latest report on that. We're dealing with, 2 governors, mayor, and we're dealing with lots of people right now on this, the emergency management, homeland security, all those issues. Obviously, Congress, we're dealing with all those at one time, and it's been, it's evolving as we speak.
So essentially, work that was done last year after a horrific incident on January 12, 2015 was not done correctly.
I don't know that. All I know is that I have a situation that I'm viewing that I've got to make sure that I'm comfortable going forward with the system.
So this is precautionary.
It's safety. It is the safety of the customers.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.